Welcome, creatures of all shapes and sizes, to Banged Up with Bruce Oldham, aka The Kid. This is an action sports podcast, the likes of which the world may never have seen before and may never see again. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so today's guest is Maddy Balt. She's a female skateboarder. She's very good at what she does. She's competing for an Olympic spot right now. Street league, the whole thing. Excellent human being. Very cool things. Owned a van, traveled around all of North America for a little bit. Stunt doubled in a Disney movie. Great snowboarder, great human being in general. Tons of interesting things. So enjoy this podcast. I personally love making this one. And yeah, many more to come. If anybody wants to be on the podcast, reach out, and more than welcome to have other guests of all varieties. So enjoy this episode. Probably going to be fucked for money then anyways, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, we just travel and get broke out here. So.
Straight up. Anyways, Maddie, welcome to the podcast. I guess we'll dive on into it. You're kind of the second guest we've had on, or I've had on. Basically, cool. I just talk and spew some bullshit. I got some questions. We'll go over some stuff, but nothing too exciting. I won't take up too much of your time. Sweet. Anyways, it's good to see you again.
Yeah.
Everybody, welcome Maddy Balt. Everybody, I mean the camera and the microphone that's on. I actually got the microphone attached to the beer can right now because I couldn't find anywhere else. Yeah, I'm being very ingenuitive today. Set the backyard rail, hit it, did some rail tricks. It was nice, but
yeah, that setup looks dope.
It's sick. It needs some fine tuning, but it's getting there. We need to buy a little more wood. I've already spent like $600 on it though, which sucked.
Dude,
the Trudeau
that's
money.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, that Trudeau money's coming in handy though.
Yeah, I know. I want to build a mini ramp in my backyard, but I just don't have the tools right now.
Yeah.
Nor like the people to help me because you can't like see anyone. So I'm like, well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Me and Patty were gonna build one, but we couldn't justify spending that money yet. Anyways, I guess we'll get into it. Stoked to have you here, Maddie. First of all, we'll just go over your story, like let everybody know who you are. You're a skateboarder, obviously, but you're more than that. You snowboard, you do a bunch of other cool shit. Basically, how'd you get into it? Like, how did Maddie become where she is now? How'd you get to where you are?
Well, it's actually been a pretty long road. So I have played like pretty much every sport under the sun: rugby, soccer, hockey, lacrosse, whatever you name it.
Yeah.
So I've played sports from a young age. I started skating, I think, when I was like 8 or 9. And it was sick. It was fun for a while. I got really into it. I got pretty good pretty quickly. And I had this like crew that I skated with. And I don't know, like they just didn't really like to hang out with me after I started beating some of them in skate.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any friends to do it with. So I like fell out of skateboarding. After that, I didn't skate really at all for like 8 years almost. I got heavy into mountain bike racing. So I used to mountain bike for like Team Ontario and stuff. I went on bunch of training camps with them. It was pretty sick.
That's downhill racing?
No, so I did cross country, unfortunately.
Sick. Yeah.
I much would have like rather been a downhiller, but you know, whatever.
A lot more effort.
It's cross country's hard. It's so much training, and that is kind of actually why I fell out of that. So I ended up going on this camp with Team Ontario to Quebec, and I like shattered my wrist, broke my rim, like broke my helmet, all this stuff. It was a gnarly crash. And so after that, I was kind of like, oof, like, I don't know if this is for me. Like, you know, going out on 2-hour-long rides every single day alone or whatever. Yeah. It was a lot. So after that, I just kind of like, I don't know. One day I went outside and I went on my skate and I just was having a bit of fun with it. And then somebody hit me up and they were like, hey, I heard about this girls meetup. Like, you should come out. Yep. And so I had never been exposed to really girls in skateboarding before, and I didn't have any friends that did it. So once I found out about this meetup, I was like, yo, let's check it out. Went down to Toronto. I ended up meeting like 15 girls that were ripping around, and it was so sick. And it's honestly kind of been history since then. Like, it's pretty much the same crew that I skate with, and they that summer they convinced me to enter this World Cup jackalope, and I was like, okay, like, let's do it. And so I went. And it was crazy because there's this like super pro girl, Leticia Buffoni. Yeah. And I know everybody knows her, whatever.
Yeah, she's an Instagram girl. I know her.
Yeah,
super
you've
sick
seen her for sure.
Yeah.
And so like I get up onto the like practice and I'm like standing next to her, like just tripping out. I'm like, whoa, like this is some real stuff right here. So my goal in that contest was just to not come last, because at that point I'd been skating for like 2 months, and back skating. So I went and I ended up getting 9th, and I was like super hyped on that. And ever since then, I just kind of was like, let's do it, let's get into it, and it's been pretty crazy. This past summer, I went out west, and that's actually where we kind of ended up linking up.
We hung out a lot back then.
Living in my van.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went to Canada Skateboard Contest out there, and I ended up winning. And after that, I had an opportunity to go to some of the Olympic qualifiers with, like, the quote-unquote Team Canada or the National Federation or whatever. And so, since then, I've just been trying to keep up with the World Cup series, like, went to World Champs in Brazil this fall. I was supposed to be, obviously, quite a few places this spring, but because of these extreme circumstances, I'm at home.
Join the club.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the moral of how I've become
Maddy Balt today. Yeah, that's super sick.
I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
it's been fun.
Like you said, you had a bunch of big contests lined up and stuff like that. What how many contests would you do a year? Like, how many were you planning for this year?
So this year I was planning on hitting at least 5 Olympic qualifiers.
Okay. And you're going Olympic qualifiers.
Yeah, so this is like trying to, because obviously skateboarding had just gone into the Olympics. Yeah. So basically around the time that I went to that first World Cup, I think like a couple months after that, it got announced that skateboarding was in the Olympics. Like, I never pictured that my life would be kind of where it is right now, like with skating. Never would have thought, but you know, here we are. They're taking a bunch of like stoner skaters and turning us into athletes again. So it's kind of a joke.
I was gonna say, because a lot of people like know kind of like the Olympic path for like most sports, but like skateboarding is something that never really skateboarding, even skiing, like up until like 2 years ago or 2 Olympics ago, wasn't something that's like really considered Olympic sport. Like, I mean, skiers nowadays are like slowly getting like eating healthier. I mean, I'm trying to stay healthier and everything like that, but like back when I was starting, I'm sure you're the same, but I used to enjoy my my time off and party quite a bit and do a lot of stupid shit and not really what you would be considering an Olympic athlete. So the fact that like they're bringing sports like this into a light like that's pretty cool. So
it's definitely different. I mean, I never would have thought I would have like a coach telling me like, oh no, don't do that trick, like do this trick. And like, I think it is kind of unfortunate because
it brings it down a bit.
Exactly. So, like, now I'm having, like, a sense, because, like, for me, a big part of skating is the freedom of it, right? Like, I can just go out, do what I want, like, hang out in the streets with my friends, slam a few beers, whatever. But now I've got, you know, a coach telling me, like, okay, no, you need to learn this trick by this date, and you really need to, like, be working on this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily, like, things that I want to be doing. But, you know, it's kind of the path that's available to me right now. I mean, end goal would probably be, like, you know, having some company pay to, like, send me out to street spots with the homies. But that's not available right now. Yeah. So,
and also you'd be pretty stupid to turn down an Olympic spot if you had the opportunity. Stuff like that. 100%. That's something that you can't pass up on. In skiing and I guess snowboarding, I think you do snowboard quite a bit and you're pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm throwing out compliments everywhere today.
There we go.
But like, I don't know, I see a lot of this where like there's skiers who are coming up like without as much style or as much creativity and like kind of only solely based around competition and like competition tricks and aren't very well rounded or just creative in that sense. Is that like something that's leaked into skateboarding a bit with like things like Olympics and stuff?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, you'll see, like, it's kind of insane, actually. Like, Street League in the format and everything, like, you know, pro skaters, whatever, it's turned into, so the Street League circuit is now also a World Skate Olympic qualifier, so you get through to the Street League or whatever. And so now you have, like, 9-year-old girls skating Street League in full, like, elbow pads, knee pads, and wrist guards.
Yeah,
and,
I was
like,
going to say...
To me, like, that's, I mean, I'm going to say it, that's super whack. Like, we should never have some kids skating a street league in knee pads. Like, it's just not how it is. And the other thing that you see is, like, these kids don't know how to fall because they've been trained to, like, fall onto, like, pads or airbags or something. They've got some crazy, like, training stuff out there in the other worlds that's not Canada. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely taking, and they're scoring like massive tricks, bigger than tricks with, you know, 6 styles. So I think it's going to take some of the creativity and style away from it.
Yeah.
But I mean, hopefully the judges can just like stay true to good skating and keep it real.
Yeah, well, skiing already, it's kind of like starting to go, they're trying to bring it back to that route, but it's like, it is still very like coming up with that competition scene. And it's funny you say that about all the young kids, because you see so many young kids that are like absolutely killing it, but then within like a year they're like all injured or like torn ACLs at like 13, 14. And it's like, oh my God, what are you guys doing? You need to go eat shit somewhere else, like not in an airbag. You need to like get out there and learn how to fall properly.
Yeah, like go up through the roots like all of us.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
You need to, it
not
helps.
Just like breeding these robot skateboarders out of nowhere, like picking them out of the streets and being like, yo, you're going to skate today.
They got a little assembly line built somewhere.
Yeah, honestly, like I think that's how it is. But I mean, respect to them, like they're still out there killing it, and you know, half of them are doing stuff I can't do. So yeah,
and they're all out there pushing themselves and stuff. It's just kind of a different light of the sport, and a lot of like even like my sister, like some people know her. She's a very good skier, but like she doesn't even know some of the tricks like that she does. She's like, wait, what's the name for that? I'm like, you just won an X Games gold and you don't know the name of the trick you're doing. It's like,
dude, you know, I do feel that though, because as I said, like there were pretty much 8 years where I didn't skate and I was like full on into mountain biking. Yeah. I've always kind of snowboarded, but really only like, again, 4 years ago did I really get into park snowboarding. So with skating, like I feel like I am uneducated, and people will be like, oh, what's your favorite video part? And I'm like, I don't. So I've actually been trying to take some of this time out of the pandemic or isolation, whatever you want to call it, to like try and get a little more educated on skate history and like watch a bunch of videos and stuff. It's been fun.
All right, well, we're going to pause right there, because a lot of these little kids that are listening to this definitely need to take a page out of your book, because there's so many kids that like don't know any of the old ski movies, any of the old snowboard movies, any of the old sport, whatever sport you're doing. Go like learn about the history. You got tons of time now.
Yeah, educate yourself.
Yeah, exactly, educate yourself. You don't want to be that kid. All right, well, that's pretty cool. We caught up on that stuff. I like that. Besides being a killer skateboarder and being bomb at snowboarding too, you got some cool things going on. You're a stunt woman on a show once. I don't know how much you can talk about that, but that would be a really cool experience if you let some people know about it. That's
definitely. So yeah, that actually last summer was so wild. So many things happened. So I randomly met this lady at my CrossFit gym back when I was at the gym, and I like found out that she did stunts, and I was like, okay, like I've always wanted to kind of get into that sort of thing. Yeah. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to shoot my shot. And she came into the gym and I was like, hey, I'm Maddie, you know, I heard you do stunts, blah, blah, blah. Turns out she's actually a stunt coordinator. So I, you know, talked to her about it a bit, and I told her I was a skater, and she kind of blew me off at first. She's like, whatever, like some hopeful, screw you. Yeah. But then she like messaged me. I was in California with my van, and she's like, yo, I am interviewing for a Disney movie. We need a skateboarder your perfect size. Like, if I get the job, it's yours. And I was like, holy crap, like, this is insane. Yeah. So I ended up stunt doubling on a Disney movie last summer for I think I was, like, on set for 2 or 3 days. And that movie is called The Secret Society of Second-Born Royals. So it's coming out, it's supposed to come out this fall. I don't know if anything's been affected by this pandemic or whatever, but yeah, so that, it was an insane experience, you know, you're like kind of working with some Disney stars, and I got to do what I love and skate in it, and yeah, made some money to kind of help me fund my contests that season, so it all worked out really well. Yeah, I bet you made some pretty good money off that. That seems like something they pay out pretty high. It was definitely decent. Any gnarly bails while you were there? Yeah, actually, I don't really know how much I can speak to it, but I did have an incident where a stunt kind of, like, went wrong, I guess you could say. Yeah. I ended up, like, cutting my hand and hitting my head, but it was fine. I mean, once the movie's out, I'm sure I just don't really know the rules, so I don't get myself in any trouble.
It's all good. I'm sure you take slams like that anyways in the street, just skating for fun.
Exactly, and that was actually what was so funny about it is, like, for me, it was, like, a mellow thing, but everybody on set, like, I was bleeding, and, like, people were panicking. They're like, oh, my God, where's the medic? Like, get the medic. And I'm like, yo, like, it's chill. Like, I do this for a living. Like, I slam way worse than this.
Do it
for
for
fun. Everybody's losing it. Yeah, literally, and I'm just like, yo, it's chill. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, that's really funny. All right, well, you've been talking about your van a little bit, and, I mean, I'm sure you got some cool stories because you bought a van. Was it already built, or did you build it yourself?
And no, I actually got super lucky. So I found this van on Kijiji. It was an Australian couple selling it, and I got it for a pretty low price, and it came, like, fully equipped. They emergency had to, like, book it back to Australia, so they were trying to sell this thing on the low, and I swooped right in, like, left my job early. I was like, I'm coming to get it right now. And so it came, like, solar panels, little kitchen, everything. And I just was like, all right, sick. And then I drove it from here, so Toronto, to, like, down through Colorado, skied. Like, I had the Epic Pass, so I basically hit as many Epic Pass mountains as I could on my way down to Cali and then up to Whistler. And so I also went to Hood. And then I ended up obviously having to fly back to Toronto for the Disney thing because that came up crazily. And then, I was in Whist for that whole summer, which is where we had some good times for sure. Yeah,
that's super sick. If anybody is out there with nothing to do, buy a van and go on a road trip, do some dumb shit.
Yes, would 100% recommend. It is so much fun.
All right, I got 2 more questions and we'll wrap this up. What's the craziest thing you've ever experienced skateboarding or in, like, out in the streets or whatever? Gnarly bales, creepy crackheads, whatever you want.
Oof, I've definitely had my fair share of bales. Most people know this about me, but I've done both my ankles, like, very badly. So, like, fully, in my one, I blew my ATFL ligament, and then in the other one, or 2 falls ago, I did my ATFL and CFL.
Yep.
So that was pretty crazy coming back from those injuries. Other than that, we did, like, I don't have any super crazy stories. Like, I've definitely been kicked out of spots, but I like to be pretty respectful of people, and, you know, like, a security guard is just trying to do their job or whatever, so I'm not really going to give them a huge hard time. But, we did have an incident this past summer where we were skating a spot, and this lady was, like, I don't know if she was cracked out or what was going on, but she was super not down with us skating in this park. It was like a mani pad. So she started, like, laying down where we were trying to skate, and we were like, yo, like, get out of the way. Like, what are you doing? This isn't your space. Like, we're trying to use it. Everybody's just trying to use it. But she kept, like, laying right in my path, and it ended up, like, you know, I'm not trying to get, like, an assault charge or something, like, hit her with my board. So we kind of just pieced, but that was pretty wild. We were just, like as if she's literally just laying down. There,
there's definitely some weirdos.
That was pretty crazy. I saw some kind of crazy stuff in Brazil when I was there.
I can imagine. Jeez.
Yeah.
Brazil's
Sao Paulo,
that.
It was a bit sketch for sure. But as long as you were kind of, like, hanging out with a big crew, you were good.
Yeah.
So, just be safe.
All right. Well, last question. What's next for you in the future, Maddie? What's on the plans for the next year or so, or even farther ahead?
So definitely, I think because of what's happened with this pandemic, obviously the Olympics have been postponed to 2021. So that is in my sights for sure. I want to do the best I can at all of these contests and try to make it. Because it's debut sport, they're only taking, like, a small amount of people. Yeah. So it's going to be tough to get it up in there, but, you know, anything's possible if you work hard enough. So we're going to go for it. But again, because of this pandemic, I think me and the homie crew in Toronto, we're going to try and film, like, a full-on street video this summer.
Oh, that'd be sick.
So I'm going to try and put out, like, a street part best I can. You know, one summer is not a ton of time to film a street part, but I'm going to kind of just go for it and see how we can do that. And then also, like, with the stunt stuff, I want to keep, you know, I need to link up with you more because you're always doing that MMA and the crazy trampoline stuff. That's exactly what I need to be doing. Yeah,
I'm trying to bring a little bit more of the dumb shit back into my life. The more sandy dumb shit, the better. That's kind of where I'm going from here on out, but...
You're more than
that's
welcome
good
to join.
hear. Yeah, no, I'm super down because, yeah, you're always up to some crazy stuff. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just kind of like train some MMA stuff and work on my fitness, get better so I can try and book some more stunt gigs because I think that's kind of the only way I'm going to be able to afford all this crazy traveling and stuff.
And it's probably a pretty good time, so.
Yeah, 100%. It's a super cool time. You get to be with all these other crazy people that like do crazy stuff all the time because they're stunt people, so.
Fuck yeah. All right, well, that was a sick podcast, Maddie. That was awesome. I'm going to just pause it here.
All right, so that was our time with Maddy Balt today. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. She's an excellent guest. Very good to talk to. Held the conversation well, so it's not as awkward for me and not as awkward for you guys, which is excellent. If you guys are just listening to this podcast for the first time or you're returning, don't be afraid to subscribe. Don't be shy. Also like it. Give it a rating, 5-star rating. It really helps me out, and I would really appreciate it. And if you have any requests for guests or topics or anything we can talk about on future podcasts, just let me know in the comments down below on YouTube or just comment on iTunes, I guess. I think you can do that, or Spotify, whatever you're listening to it on. With that being said, all the best from the kid to you. That was another episode of Banged Up.